It's going to be a hard video to make. It is. It's going to be a difficult video to make, you know? You know, because fact of it is me and Steve Albini, you know, we go way back, you know? It's not like there's all these people who are famous and you think they're gonna be, they're not gonna know the regular guy, regular Joe Schmo, regular Jane Wayne, you know? And it's not necessarily, that's basically is a fallacy if you think about it, because I knew Steve Albini. I knew Steve Albini. That's one of the things we did. We played tic-tac-toe with our fingers, and he's like, I got to go record PJ Harvey doing a EP with Nick Cave's brother-in-law or something. And those are the kind of moments you miss, because I knew Steve Albini in the way, you know, in 2003, he was the first person to show me what a Philly cheesesteak was. And that right there is something that you can't teach. That's not a music industry thing. Do you know what I mean? That's not a music industry thing. No. That's not. That's a person having compassion and showing you culture in the finest way he possibly can, or she or person can. You know, in 2009, he was the first person to, you know, he showed me what a laser disc. He forgave me my first laser disc, which was, wow, what do I do with this? And he said, you can throw it away. And I said, that's a present right there. The guy who produced Nirvana is giving me a laser disc that I can put in a landfill. I mean, that right there is something. It goes further than that. You know, my dad knew Prince. When he died, Prince was, you know, he'd always text with my dad. You know, he'd go, you know, hey, motherfucker. You know, my Prince swore so much. That was something he hid from everyone. People think it's just, you know, purple rain, you know. Darling Nikki, would you go with the rain? You know, people always think that that's what Prince was, and that was only like 37 to 45% of the time. But he did know my dad, because my dad, you know, worked in theater, and my sister, you know, and one of the things that he always used to text my dad, you know, hey motherfucker, where's your waffle maker? My dad used to smile because, you know, my dad knew that he didn't have one. You know, Isaac Hayes too. Isaac Hayes, that was another one. You know, I met Isaac Hayes back in '98, and I was, you know, 11 years old, and Isaac Hayes is like so short, and my mom was like, "Thanks for acknowledging the height difference." And that was like a moment that I'm always going to think of, is interacting with the singer Isaac Hayes. So I remember Amy Winehouse had this visceral display of ingenuity, or as like people like to call it, like, you know, wearing boots or whatever. And I remember Amy Winehouse presenting herself, like, you know, you're almost 20 at the time, you know, right before she died. And I was like, no one ever says that to me. No one ever says my age to me, and that always is like, I'll always, you know, try to make me go to rehab. Like every time I sing that, it's like, and I'm wearing boots, you know. She always used to acknowledge that I wore boots. So every time I think of that song, I always just try to make me wear those boots now, and I'm done wearing those boots. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I always think of that. I always think of that when it's like Back to Black. It's like, no, Back to Boots. I always think Back to Boots. Back to Black. No, we're not going Back to Black. We're going Back to Boots. TJ Maxx. Marshalls. I always think of Marshalls. So every time I'm in a Marshalls, I think of Amy Winehouse, because we met. You know, it goes deeper than that, even, because, you know, David Bowie was, my grandma talked to David Bowie a couple times. The only one I can literally remember right now, and the only one that matters, is the time when she was talking to she still had Milkman up into the 70s when she lived in, uh, it's one of it's either Idaho, Montana, I can't remember where she lived, but there was this milkman who came to her house, and she was dropped off milk, and she was like, thanks, and she said a bunch of racial stuff, which I'm not going to repeat, but it was, you can imagine it would hurt the feelings of like roaches and flies and flowers and bees and stuff like that. And I just remember she was in downtown Boise, and there's David Bowie, and David Bowie is, you look good for a woman with dark hair, and I'll always remember that as a family. A lot of people who you connect with. A lot of people you connect with. I remember back in the 90s, my dad didn't talk about it a lot, but he certainly did talk about it at least once or three times, probably even like four times. If I can remember the correct, exact, empirical date, if that's even a word I can, use for this kind of thing. It was like four times, yeah. And he said, Pac's coming over. Pac-Man's coming over. And he always used to call Tupac. It was Tupac. My dad was friends with Tupac. And it was like, Pac-Man's coming over. And he hated that. He hated being called Pac-Man because it was Tupac. His name was Tupac. People didn't realize this, but it says the number. People think like, that's odd. That's kind of strange. It's a rap name. No, it's his name. It's Tupac. It's just phonetically spelled. So we called him Pac-Man in order to make him mad when Tupac came over to my house. I mean, it wasn't my house, but it might as well have been my house because Tupac was there. Ray Charles was another one that kind of hit me because I can remember going to New York in the early 2000s, and Ray Charles was fucking goddamn 60 or whatever the hell age he was. And it's like, Ray Charles. And he was like, Nick, let's get, how Ray Charles does his thing with his feet. And, he's, let's go get some Whole Foods. And that was back when Whole Foods was new, or at least it was really new. And we got some granola and we tore it the fuck up, man. We tore it up. Ray Charles and I did tear it up. Brittany Murphy was another one that it hit hard because although I didn't meet her, she was best friends with my sister. That's all I know about that one. It really never ends. Never ends, And part of it is I feel bad because just lost all these like really close friends like Ray Charles and Tupac. Steve Jobs was another one that was, my mom used to send him emails and they would get lost in the shuffle, but sometimes it would be like an automated response like, love you, Shelly. When George Harrison came to my dad's house, it was completely electrifying. He did everything possible that a Beatle couldn't do. He went over my dad's house, started eating cigarettes, spitting them all over the granite countertops in his $90 kitchen. Crazy that my parents even accepted George Harrison as a fun little guy who would come over They also talked to Mr. Bernie Mac before he was famous. My dad said, Bernie Mac, this sounds like a heart attack. Yeah, Bernie Mac sounds like a heart attack. They gave him his catchphrase like a motherfucking cocksucker. And it was pretty interesting because Bernie Mac was sort of a guy who was like, I don't hang out with white dudes, but these two motherfuckers who got Norwegian and Irish and English descent are not bad. They're not bad dudes. And yeah, Bernie Mac called my mom a dude. What more do you want? It was the 80s. Things were crazy. Reagan was president. AIDS, HIV, the whole kit and caboodle. Okay? These are who my family's friends with. Is dead motherfuckers. Alright? Princess Diana, more like Princess Triana. She didn't try too hard at a restaurant at all. Because when my sister went out with her, when my sister was motherfucking 17 years old, she didn't, ever do none of that appetizer bullshit. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She always went, oh, I pity the fool whoever orders fish sticks. You little cunt. So, there you have it. That is my family history with motherfucking all the dead people who are friends with my family. Go ahead and suck on my chest here, baby, because this is how the motherfucker be going. Alright. The saddest one for all for me. The saddest one for me of all time was Miss Plastic Queen herself, Joan Rivers. She's a big family friend. Extremely charitable. Gratuitously nice. Eerily fashionable. To a large extent that could only pervade. The bitch ate my dad's ass. She went down on it. She went down on it. Getting them chunks inside her throat. She went down on it. She went down on it. Down on my ass in a toe. She met my dad in '89. She went down on his ass and it felt so fine. Mama like, hey, can I join in? But she said no. Went down on his ass and he said, okay. Guess I'm by for a minute now. Went down on his ass and it came to pass. He feels okay as rain. She went down on it. She went down on it. She went down on his ass right now. She went down on it. She went down on it, yeah. She went down on it. Eating them chunks like a gravy train. She went down on it, yo. She went down on it. The bitch went down on my damn freaky ass, bitch. She went fucking down on it, yo. She was like, I'm not a comedian no more. I ain't doing no jokes for free, bitch. That motherfucker went down on my dad's ass like a freak in a rain with a dream bitch. She went down on his big white butt. I don't even care about nothing, bro. He went down on my dad's ass. I made some real good shit cereal. Oh, hey there. Hope you enjoyed what you just watched. I know I did. Catch you around. Oh, hey. I didn't see you there. I was just watering my garden and trying to do something with my car, if you know what I mean. I'll see you around. Oh. Didn't see you there. How are you? I didn't really know that anyone was there or watching. Catch you on the flip side. I know you have one.